Greetings, and welcome to part 4 of the Percussion series. We're using the Breeze Easy book by John Killian, Drums Part 1. This is going to be focusing on part of the purple belt for band karate, the Breeze Easy lessons 9 through 12. So for this, we're just going to go through the snare drum part, and in a later video series, we'll go through all the bell stuff. Just makes it a little easier to have everything like that, and you can find whatever video you need. Okay, so we're on page 15 in your book, lesson 9 in Breeze Easy. In the top of the page in the box of new stuff, it talks about afterbeats. So afterbeats is what happens when you have an eighth rest followed by an eighth note. Okay? So before we've had eighth note followed by eighth rest, it would be and, 2, and, 3, and, 4, and. When you have the eighth rest come first, it's going to be rest, and, rest, and. Okay, it's got that neat little kind of feel to it. So let's try number 1. Notice that it's in 2/4 time. You have a repeat sign at the end, so you're going to do it twice. And you start off with that eighth rest. Let's try it. Number 1. Ready, go, and rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and 1, 2. Rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and 1. Repeat. Rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and 1, 2. Rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and rest, and 2, and 1. Rest. Number 2, again, 2/4 with repeat sign, and there's some eighth rests in here too, so just be careful. Notice I usually do a little something like this when I get to the eighth rests too, just to help you out to feel where they are. Here's number 2. Ready, go. 1, and 2, and 1, 2. 1, and rest, and 1, rest. 1, and 2, and 1, 2. 1, and rest, and 1. Repeat. 1, and 2, and 1, 2. 1, and 1. Rest. 1, and 2, and 1, 2. 1, and rest, and 1. Rest. Number 2, a lot more eighth rests. This is a fun one. Again, 2/4, repeat sign. That's very similar. Ready, go, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1, 2. Rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1. Repeat. Rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1, 2. Rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1. Rest. Number 4 is a 2-liner. At the top of the page, it talks about the dotted quarter and eighth. So this rhythm, the dotted quarter is like hitting a quarter note and then having an eighth rest right next to it. So look at the top, number 4, the first line there. So you've got a quarter note followed by an eighth rest. So it's 1 and 2. Then you have the single eighth note and then 3, 4. Okay? So let's just look at it. It's going to be 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So that's the feel of it. The second line is going to be the same. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. You could think of it as quarter, dot, eighth, quarter, dot, eighth. Whatever way is easier. I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3, 4 because I like the counting. Here's number 4. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2. Half rest. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2. Half rest. Number 5 is in 3/4 time. It's a repeat sign. Notice at the second measure you have that little percent sign, or it almost looks like a Z. Okay, that means play the measure before it again. Here's number 5. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2. Repeat. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2. Rest. Number 6 I tend to skip because if you're alone at home doing these, then it's really you really can't play both parts together. I mean, I guess you could, but it'd be really hard. So remember the bottom part, just talk about what it is. The bottom part is the bass drum. So someone would be playing the bass drum part. The top part would be your snare drum part. Notice it'd be 2/4 time. Notice that at the very top you have that quarter note equals 120 in the parentheses. Remember, that's your tempo marking. That means that there's going to be 120 beats per minute. So since you have 60 seconds in a minute, if you multiply that by 2, that's 120 beats per minute. Okay. Notice there's also first and second ending. But we're going to turn the page. Here is lesson 10. Okay, so lesson 10, in the box at the top it says beginning studies of the Flam. Okay, so we're going to talk about that first. Look under rudiment practice. You've got a flam. So a flam is you're going to have one stick higher than the other. In this case, you start off with the left is lower. Okay, that little note called like a grace note, that means your left. And then the big one is your right. And you drop them kind of at the same time. Since this one's closer, it's going to get there first. That's the sound of a flam. What we don't want are these things. We don't want... Okay, that's too far apart. We also don't want this. This is just both sticks hitting at the same time. That's not really a flam. We also don't want this. Where are my sticks going? They're going into the nose of the person next to me. Okay, just straight up and down is your flam. Okay, that's your new rudiment. Flam. Good. And then box at the top, it also has some new terms. It says maestoso, it means stately. Andante means medium slow. Allegro means medium fast. So those are also tempo markings. Sometimes you'll see, quarter note equals, whatever beats per minute. Sometimes they'll just say, play it maestoso, play it stately, like a king's coming down the aisle. You might have andante, play it slow. You might play allegro, playing fast. But those are very important. Those are Italian terms. Pretty much all musical terms are going to be in Italian. The reason for that is that Venice, Italy was the place for music when notation started going. And so just to have one notation that everybody can use, everything is in Italian. It's kind of stuck through the years. So if you're French and you speak French, then you're still reading the Italian terms. If you speak Mandarin in China, then you're still going to be learning the Italian terms. Okay, that way everybody from all over the world could come together in an ensemble, be given a piece of music, and everybody could play the same thing. Okay, otherwise you're going to have the English edition of this song and the Spanish edition of the song. It just wouldn't work out as well. So that's why they get that. That's the way it is. Let's keep going. Here is reading practice number 1. Notice your 4/4 time. Notice that you have you have a repeat sign on there, so you're going to do it twice. And we've got a lot of those eighth rests in there too. Here's number 1. Ready, go, and rest, and 2, and 3, and 4, and rest, and 2, and 3, and 4, and rest, and 2, and rest, and 4, and rest, and 2, and 3. Repeat. Rest, and 2, and 3, and 4, and rest, and 2, and 3, and 4, and rest, and 2, and rest, and 4, and rest, and 2, and 3. Rest. Number 2 is 3/4 time, so we're going to go to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Let's try this. 1, ready, go, rest. 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, rest, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2, rest, rest. 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, rest, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2, rest. Number 3 in your book is 2/4 time. You've got a repeat sign on there, so you're going to do it twice. It's 2 beats in a measure and a lot of those eighth rests. Let's try it. Ready, go, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1, and 2, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1, and 2. Repeat. Rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1, and 2, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1, and 2. Number 4, 2/4 time again. More of those eighth rests practice and repeat it. Number 4. ready, go. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1 and 2 and 1 and rest. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1 and 2 and 1. Repeat. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1 and 2 and 1 and rest. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1 and 2 and 1. Rest. A little overture. Again, we're going to skip these ones for now. Notice that at the top it says maestoso, so you would play that stately. Notice that you start with that C, so it's common time, so 4/4. Notice you have bass drum parts and snare drum parts. Notice that about halfway through the song, it goes andante, and it changes time signature. Sometimes you'll see that in music. So this one goes to 3/4, so you would go to 3 beats in measure. So you'd start 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Underneath that, you go to allegro fast, and then 2/4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, we're not going to worry about this one right now, but just to be aware of what these terms are is going to be very helpful. Let's move on to lesson 11. In the top box, we have 16th notes. So 16th notes are faster than any other note you learn. So you've had chord notes, then 8th notes, and 2, and 3. 16th notes are 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... So you're going to fit 4 16th notes on every beat. Okay? Look in the rudiment practice underneath that. We've got the single stroke roll still. Okay? You're working on nice and even and steady and fast. You've got the long roll. So the long roll is a double, 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 left, left, right, right. So let's talk about getting faster on those, okay? Because eventually we're going to be going on our rolls. So take your stick, hit your drum with your arm, well, not with your arm, your stick, but use your arm one, but let your stick hit a bunch of times. Okay? This is a rebound. Okay? Now do it with the other stick. That would be a buzz roll. So by, playing around with how loose you're holding the stick and letting it bounce, you're going to get that rebound, and this is the basis for your drum roll. When you can control that rebound so you get 2 hits and then bring it back up. So again, my arm's moving once, and the stick's going twice. I'm not going, I'm going hit, 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 hit. Not hit, hit, but hit, 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 hit. And eventually, if you do that with your long roll, a nice controlled roll. Okay, that's what we're going to be going for. So be working on that with your rudiment practice. And that 5-stroke roll in there, that's the left, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, left, right. Again, double, double hit, double, double hit. And work on getting those fast. By lesson 15, we're going to be using those in music. Okay, and then the flam, 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 flam. Be memorizing these rudiments. Good. All right, reading practice number 1. This is where we're going to start using those 16th notes. 2 4 times, so count to 2. Repeat signs, we do it twice. Number 1, ready, go. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2. Repeat. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2. Number 3, 1 line, 2 4 time, 2 beats in the measure, and no repeat. Starts with a group of 16th notes. And I like to use 1 E and a. one E and a. They have one da and a, but I don't really like that myself. So what I grew up using was one E and a for counting 16th notes. Here we go, number 2. Ready, go. One E and a 2, and one E and a 2. One E and a 2, and one E and a 2. One E and a 2, and one E and a 2. One E and a 2, and 1 and 2. Number 3 is a 2-liner, but if you look at the 2 lines, what do you notice? They're the same. So they could have put a repeat sign, but they decided just to write it out twice. Here we go, number 3. Ready, go. One E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2, and one E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2. One E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2, and one E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2. Number 4 is an interesting exercise. 4 times, 1 4. And you've got that repeat sign on, so you do it twice. Notice you start off with 4 quarter notes, then you do a whole measure of 8th notes, then a whole measure of 16th notes, and then you do that pattern back down. So you start off really slow, go fast. So when a lot of kids do this, they start going, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they get in trouble because they have to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Oh. So I like to go about 1, 2. Let's try it together. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 5's a tricky one. Okay, a lot of people mess up on this one. That's okay. We just practice it a lot because you're using 16th notes and you've got those 8th rests in there, and it's not very intuitive. Let's try it. 2 lines, 4 time. Ready, go. 1 and rest and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and rest and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and rest. 1 and rest and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and rest and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and rest. Bob and Bill, if you have another person, you could play this one as a duet. One person can play the top line, one person can play the bottom line. But for now, we're going to turn the page to lesson 12. All right. At the very top, you've got the Flam and reading practice. So now, in number 5 in this page anyway, we're going to be using the Flam in actual music. And then you've got a new rhythm there. It's an 8th to 16th. Okay, so let's think of this. 8ths, we count 1 and 2 and. 16th, we go 1 E and a. Okay, so let's combine them. The first one's an 8th, so we got the 1. All right, and then the 16th notes at the end would be and a. Okay, because 1 and would be the 8th, but there's an extra 16th note. So 1 and a. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. That's what it's going to sound like. So again, you got your rudiment practice, same as before, single stroke roll, long roll, 5-stroke roll, and flam. They got a lot of flams in that rudiment practice. Flam, 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 flam. So they want you to start getting these pretty fast. Okay, so I would work on that. Okay, let's do the reading practice number 1. 2, 4 with repeat. Ready, go. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. Repeat. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2. Number 2, even more of those 8th to 16th rhythms. Ready, go. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. Repeat. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 number 3 shows you what's going to happen if you start off with an 8th rest. So it would be rest and 2. Okay, rest and 2. All right, so here's number 3 with 2/4 time with repeat. Ready, go, and rest and 2 and 1 and 2 and rest and 2 and 1 and 2. Rest and 2 and 1 and 2 and rest and 2 and 1 and 2. Repeat. Rest and 2 and 1 and 2 and rest and 2 and 1 and 2. Rest and 2 and 1 and 2 and rest and 2 and 1 and 2. Number 4, now you're going to see when you have that 8th, 2/16 with 4/16. Here's number 4. 2/4 with repeat. Ready, go. 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2. Repeat. 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 8 and 1 and 2. Number 5, flams. Mostly flams. Okay, 2/4 with repeat. Ready, go. Flam, rest, flam, rest, flam, flam, flam. 2 and flam, rest, flam, rest, flam, flam, flam. Repeat. Flam, rest, flam, rest, flam, flam, flam. 2 and flam, rest, flam, rest, flam, 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 rest. Solo flight number 1, number 6, is 3 lines. We're getting longer music. And it's really cool. It starts off, first of all, you've got your tempo marking, quarter note equals 120. We're not going to worry too much about it. I like to go a little slower on this one. Your 2/4 time, no repeat. And then you start off with that F. Okay, remember that means forte, which means you start off loud. Okay, the second line, you go to P, which is piano, which is soft. By the second measure from the end of the second line, the middle line, you have forte, go back to loud. At the the last line, halfway through, goes back to piano, soft. Then at the end, you're loud again. Let's give this a whirl. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Flam, 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 flam. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Flam, 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 flam. 1 and 2 and rest and 2. Let's see what would happen if we did play it at 120. It's a metronome. It keeps the beat for me. 1. Goes pretty fast. If you're feeling ambitious, if this is getting easy for you, I would encourage you to try that at that speed and just see if you can get it. All right, it's going to take a lot of practice, but it'll be worth it. All right, so that ends the purple belt part of the using Breeze Easy, using snare drum. The next lesson series is going to focus on lessons, looks like 13 through 15. So keep on practicing. Again, if you practice every day for 20 to 30 minutes, you will be fantastic. Okay, play along with these recordings. It could be very helpful. I would also encourage you to count along with me because that's going to build it up using your mouth into your brain more than just your arms. Okay, every little bit helps. All right, we'll see you later.